I'm currently working on different things. On the one hand, this is a number of papers I would like to finish, and I'm actually finishing. On the other hand, there are two projects I'm currently thinking about. The one thing is the question of leadership in economics. What do economists actually have to say, and what in economic framework is leadership? And the other thing is behavioral measurement. What I call behavioral measurement is the idea of using experimental games in the field to study heterogeneity in, for example, economic preferences, but more generally also economic beliefs and so on, which is something economists have already been used for a long time, but I think there are still many open questions we still need to answer to use it as a powerful instrument in the future. This is hard to say. There are probably many papers that have influenced me indirectly, and many of them probably I'm not even aware of anymore. In general, I think what we do is inspired very, very often by research that has been around for a long time, and sometimes we identify it only later and see that things have been addressed before. And what I then hope is that we actually tackle the same problem over and over again and we go beyond that. So that it's not a circle that we have always run in circle, but that we actually are on a spiral that hopefully our answers are better or give us something more than we have known before. But one thing I must say that clearly has brought me into economics, because I started as a mathematician, was a paper by Glenn Ellison in Econometrica in the 90s on coordination and local interaction. This was a very influential paper for me and has also shaped part of my own research as a PhD student later. And another piece that was very influential in the sense of bringing me into behavioral economics was a book by Ari Rubinstein called Modeling Bounded Rationality. And in this book he presents several approaches to study human bounded rationality. What I think is one of the most interesting parts of that book is actually the very end, where there is a dialogue between Herbert Simon, who was asked to read the book before, and Ari Rubinstein, who answers, because Herbert Simon clearly says that this is a nice book, but actually not very useful, because just doing theory will not help us in understanding what human rationality or bounded rationality is about. So he asked for a fully different approach, collecting data, running experiments, and not following the same approach economists have followed in the past. I think Ari Rubinstein, on the other hand, argues very convincingly that game theory, nevertheless, or theory in general, can be used to help us raise let's say, the important questions here, or use the framework in an effective way. But personally, this has brought me into a new field, conducting experiments, becoming an experimental economist, a behavioral economist, because I was really convinced that we can't do just theory. We need to collect many more data in order to be able to answer this question, what human behavior and human bounded rationality is really about. I think a very important question, which we still don't really know the answer to, is the question how different leaders reach to the top. How do they get their position? Because as economists would think that everything is more or less run efficiently and the best leaders will reach the top. On the one hand, we don't really know who the best leader is, depends on circumstances, but I think we know even less about what are the different, let's say, dynamics and both the individual and social determinants of different leader types, different leader personalities reaching leadership positions within organizations, but also in society at large. I think that is a very important question, because leaders play a powerful role in society and in firms and organizations everywhere. And we still don't really know what the crucial factors are, the driving forces that lead them to reaching these powerful positions. I'm Michael Kosfeld from Goethe University in Frankfurt.